I'd like to start off by saying Shalom, giving our praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who do rule well and teach this truth in all honesty and sincerity. And salutation to you brothers around the four corners of the earth that push this truth in all honesty and great diligence as well, risking your lives and freedoms to wake up to hopefully lit. Of course, you know we in the so-called this Christmas season, pagan holiday worship. And a lot of people don't know what this stuff goes back to. It goes back to ancient Babylonian custom after a ruler named Nimrod, who Nimrod had a son with his mother, and Tammuz and his mother named Semiramis. Just wickedness, man. And this holiday has, stormed the world and became very popular in wickedness. Early American history, it was outlawed in America, because things have been added to it. Is known as Capernalia, different names, and different parts of the world have added to what we know as Christmas. But I'm gonna grab a few precepts, about what the Lord commanded His people not to do. This is Deuteronomy, the 18th chapter, and starting at verse 9. And it reads, "When thou art come into the land which the Lord thy power giveth thee, thou shalt not learn to do after the abominations of those nations. There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that useth divination, or an observer of times, or an enchanter, or a witch, or a charmer, or a consulter with familiar spirits, or a wizard, or a necromancer." The Lord told us not to do these things because this is what the other nations were heavy into, trying to tap into that power on the left-hand side. And we are to dive into the power from Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, on the right-hand side through his son. But these other nations are heavy in witchcraft and sorcery and all manners of evil and wickedness. So the Lord commanded us not to partake into that. That's one of the reasons why the Lord gave every nation of people their own land, so that wouldn't be an issue. And he parted up the lands between the nations. But our people love to go and do after the heathens do. It says in verse 10, "There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter pass through the fire." And what that means is a lot of times in the ancient times, people would sacrifice their children, to receive some type of consolation from these wicked left-handed spirits. One well known is the Molech statue of a owl. And with this Christmas thing, everybody always says, "Well, I just do it for the kids," or Halloween, "I just do it for the kids." Well, in a sense, that's passing your children through the fire, man. You know, you dealing with this wicked paganistic worship in the sake of your children. So in a sense, that's making your children pass through the fire. You're not burning them in a fire, but you ushering them into this wickedness, man. Celebrating this wickedness, man. You know, so it's the same thing. I'm gonna jump to Jeremiah chapter 10, and I'm gonna start at verse 1. Hear ye the word which the Lord spake unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. For the heathen are dismayed at them, for the customs of the people are vain. And you get that when you hear people talking about, oh, what's your zodiac sign? What's this? What's that? All that is these signs of heaven, man. And the stars are not made for that. They're made to tell time. You know, the month, year, and things like that, to keep track of time. Verse 3, for the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers that it move not. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them. They cannot do evil, neither also it is in them to do good. For as much as there is none like unto thee, O Lord, thou art great, and thy name is great in might. Who would not fear thee, O King of nations? For to thee doeth appertain. For as much as among the wise men of the nations, and in all their kingdoms, there is none like unto thee. But they are altogether brutish and foolish. The stock is a doctrine of vanities. You know, and it goes in to list what happens with this celebration. You know, and the scripture directly tells us not to learn the ways, not to participate in this particular holiday. It gives the details of what goes on with this holiday. It tells us not to worship it. It don't mention Christmas, but when you read this is exactly what happens on Christmas. This is what happens. You go get to a tree farm or whatever, get you a cedar tree, bring it home, put it in one of those a tree stand, put some water in the bottom of it, screw the little screws in so it don't lean over, put the lights and all the ornaments all on it. That's wicked, man. That's a pagan holiday. And despite the scriptures telling our people not to do that, what do these churches have set up? Christmas service. You know, they have Christmas dinners, and some even exchange gifts as well. And I'm going to read an excerpt or an article about the origin of Christmas, and just to show how dumb our people are, man, and how they will worship anything, man, that's popular, just, you know, to fit in, so they won't be looked at as you know, weird, or you know, not with the in crowd and all that goofy shit. This is a article on The Plain Truth About Christmas by David J. Stewart. Nimrod started the great organized worldly apostasy from God that has dominated this world until now. Nimrod married his own mother, whose name was Semiramis. After Nimrod's death, his so-called mother/wife, Semiramis, propagated the evil doctrine of the survival of Nimrod as a spirit being. She claimed a full-grown ever tree sprang overnight from a dead tree stump, which symbolized the springing forth into new life of the dead Nimrod. On each anniversary of his birth, she claimed Nimrod would visit the evergreen tree and leave gifts upon it. December 25th was the birthday of Nimrod. This is the real origin of the Christmas tree. And people would go and you know, celebrate this thing like it was something real, man. It's all paganism, man. Once you die, you ain't coming back, you know, in the spirit of a tree or a bird or some shit like that, man. But it just shows you the damn foolish origin of this day, man. And our people, they break their necks and break their pockets, you know, to go all out for this day. For what? But they don't know any of the Lord's feast days or his holy days. They can't tell you 3 of them. They can't name you 3 holy days that the Most High ordained for his people to be merry or have solemn feasts and basically show appreciation to the Most High for delivering us out of a captivity, or, you know, sparing our lives or whatever. Slovakia. Jump to the book of Amos, chapter 5, and I believe, verse 21, and it reads, I despise your feast days, and I will not smell your solemn assemblies. And that's a cut for all you people that believe the Lord is all love, because all through the scriptures, the Lord tells you what he hates. And being followers of righteousness, Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah, we should hate what he hates, and we should love what he loves. Though ye offer me burnt offerings and your meat offerings, I will not accept them, neither will I regard the peace offering of your fat beasts. You know, the Lord is not giving a damn about these holidays as these people call them. He has holy days set up, you know, and our people would you know, just turn his holy days into, you know, just shenanigans and gatherings of, you know, of goofiness, not taking them serious, you know, sinning, and, you know, just basically making a business out of the sacrifices, and, you know, being in league with these other nations, partaking in their holidays, the pagan days that they worship. And the Lord is not with that. Jump down to verse 26. But ye have borne the tabernacle of your Moloch, and children your images, the star of your God, which, and that's a lowercase g, which ye made to yourselves. Therefore I will cause you to go into captivity beyond Damascus, saith the Lord, whose name is the God of hosts. So that's one of the reasons why we were in these different captivities under the Babylonians. under the Assyrians, under the Egyptians, under these Edomites, you know, under these different Hamites. And currently we in this last captivity here in America, aka Babylon the Great, or the daughter of Babylon. And the Lord don't give a damn about these holidays, because they're all entrenched in bullshit and wickedness. Jump to the book of Romans, chapter 12, starting at verse 2. And be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good, that acceptable and perfect will of Yahweh. So celebrating these days, man, it's conforming to this world, but we supposed to be transformed out of this world. The scripture says, "Come out of her, my people," and a lot of people be, teaching that means flee Babylon, but it's not. It's mean come out of that mentality of partaking in these wicked events in Babylon. Having that mindset of the rest of this world. Doing what the majority is doing, which is wickedness, and it's bullshit. The Lord hates that. Jump to the book of Ephesians. Yeah. Ephesians chapter 5, starting at verse 6. And it reads, "Let no man deceive you with vain words, for because of these things cometh the wrath of Yahweh upon the children of disobedience," or unbelief. "Be ye not therefore partakers with them." Why is our people being partakers in the same festivities as the people who put us in captivity? Because they are conformed, they're conditioned, they're indoctrinated. Their mind is totally given in to the way of the heathen. For ye were sometimes darkness, but now are ye light in the Lord. Walk as children of light. For the fruit of the Spirit is in all goodness and righteousness and truth, proving what is acceptable unto the Lord. And have no fellowship with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather reprove them. For it is a shame even to speak of those things which are done of them in secret. Because a lot of these days, man, they entrenched in wickedness and bullshit and sacrifices and child sacrifices and immoral sexual behaviors, and our people have been taken over with that spirit of celebrating these things, not knowing the origin from which they came. I'm gonna jump back to Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, and the 37th verse. Salakia. Um, Salakia, I'm going to start at verse 1. This is Leviticus chapter 23 and verse 1. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them. Now see, the Lord is always addressing the children of Israel. It's not calling for the children of Moab, the children of Edom, of Amalek, or Ishmael. It's always talking about the children of Israel, which is Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them concerning the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be holy convocations. Even these are my feasts. And it goes in to list the feast days and the holy days of the Most High. You have the Sabbath, which the weekly Sabbath, or which changes from month to month based on the moon. You have the Passover. You have the Feast of Unleavened Bread, the Feast of First Fruits, the Feast of Pentecost, the Feast of Trumpets, the Feast of Tabernacles. You got the Day of Atonement. These are the Lord's feast days. Verse 37, These are the feasts of the Lord, which ye shall proclaim to be in holy convocation, to offer an offering made by fire unto the Lord, a burnt offering and a meat offering, a sacrifice and drink offering, everything upon this day. But we have our own holy days, man. We have our own holy days to worship the Most High, man. Come out of this, what these heathens tell you to worship, man, here in our captivity, man. Learn what the Lord holy days are, because that's what we should be celebrating as Hebrew Israelites. But with that, I'm gonna say shalom. Hope this has been an edifying lesson. Abba and Kwam Yasharala.